What's up? Welcome back to the Rat Cave. It's Ratzi for DJ Kit, and today I'm going to call this a Ratzi revisit, right? Because I am going to be looking at the Reloop Buddy today, right? And I know that this is 2 years old, but here in the UK, Reloop are currently doing a promo deal with promo only, where if you buy the Buddy or the Ready, you get a month's free subscription with promo only. So that kind of made me think, I never actually did a review on this Reloop Buddy when it came out 2 years ago. In this video today, I'm not going to really be reviewing this. I mean, it's 2 years old now. There's plenty of videos out there of unboxings and all of that kind of jazz. But what I am going to be doing in this video today is just going through some of my favourite features on this Buddy. I will, of course, cover the general bits about this controller, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to be going into too much detail. I'm just going to be concentrating on the standout features. So let's get into it. Right, first things first on this Reloop Buddy. This fits perfectly on a 13-inch MacBook. And I say MacBook, but this is compatible with Macs, as in MacBook laptops, iOS devices, as in iPhones or iPads, but it is also compatible with Android devices and PCs. The weird thing about this Reloop Buddy is it is specifically made for Algoriddim DJay app, right? I'm sure that it is MIDI mappable to other softwares as well, but it's made for Algoriddim DJay. That's the software that I'm using it with in today's video. But the weird thing about Algoriddim DJay app, if you are an Android user, Android users get quite left behind when it comes to a lot of like devices that are used on mobiles or tablets. This Buddy does work with Android and PC, but the neural mix, which I'm going to get onto in a little bit, I mean, I'm sure that you know what it is already, but this doesn't work on Android, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a kick in the teeth. Emphasis on the teeth, for Android users. So this is why today I am using it with my MacBook Pro, but as you see here, I've also got my iPhone plugged into it because it is compatible with both. And a wicked thing about this Buddy, in fact, is that you can actually have both a laptop and a tablet plugged in at the same time. And there's a little switch on the side here which you can flick, which goes from it says PC or iOS. So at the moment I've got it on PC, as you can see over here, but if I flick it to iOS, you should be able to see, there you go. Hopefully that came up in the camera above there. But now, that is now controlling, the Buddy is now controlling the DJ, Algoriddim DJay software on this iPhone. Now, I am actually going to be using this mostly today with my MacBook because I can screen record that properly. It's a lot bigger screen, but all of the features that I'm talking about on this MacBook can be put into play on both an iPhone and a tablet. And I would say as well, with this Buddy, if you're going to be using this with a iOS device, it's great fun to use it with an iPhone. Obviously, you've got that in your pocket, but along the top here kind of tells the story. You've got a slot here where you can put in an iPad, and I would say, especially with Algoriddim DJay app, some of the stuff that you can do on it is so complicated, you do need a bigger screen. So I would say probably lean more towards an iPad if you are going to use it on iOS, but I'm going to be running through all the features today using my MacBook. So, in fact, let's flick it back to my MacBook. So I'll flick PC on the side here, and then bosh, we are back in Algoriddim DJay app on my MacBook over here. Look, real quick one, I'm going to talk about connections as I kind of mentioned it there. So the iPhone or the iPad is connected with your iPhone or iPad cable, which goes into an iOS USB on this side here. Then there's the switch, and then over here, there is the power input, which this Buddy can be powered by either a power bank, or you can plug a USB cable into, you know, a USB charging plug or whatever. But it's also powered, it can be powered by a laptop. So I've got this powered into my laptop here. Worth saying actually at this point that when you can have both the laptop and the phone plugged in at the same time, but it doesn't, the power from this cable coming out of your laptop is enough to power the Buddy itself, but not enough power to power your phone if you've got your phone plugged in. Anyway, but the beauty of this direct cable from here means that you don't have to faff around with dongles or camera adapters or any of that kind of stuff that you have to use when you want to use Algoriddim DJay on other controllers. So it's nice and clean. I know it doesn't look very clean because I've got cables running everywhere, but in terms of setting it up, it is pretty easy. Also, it's like, speaking of cables and dongles and stuff like that, this Buddy, even though it is only a little diddly controller, it does have its own audio interface built into it, which again is a touch, because to be fair, a lot of controllers around this size, around this kind of price point, that are compatible with iOS devices and stuff like that, you have to use the devices like the iPhone speakers or whatever, and again, get a dongle or a headphone splitter. This Buddy has got its own audio interface in it, so it's got you plug your speakers into the side here, it's got RCA master out, and then the knobs on the side here, this is your master volume, and then you've got Q-Mix, which is, you know, the headphones, whether or not you want to hear just what's in your headphones or what's coming out the speakers, and then your headphone volume there. The headphones are the mini little 3.5 jack. There is, of course, the option to use the speakers either on your iOS device or on your laptop speakers or whatever, but you know, yeah, then you have to get headphone splitters and stuff. So I would recommend using speakers hardwired in, as I've got here. So let's take a look around the controller. Now, the first thing that pops out for me is that this Buddy is symmetrical. I'm not a big fan of that. We saw a lot of that. Newmark used to be quite guilty of that. So what symmetrical is imagine a mirror down the middle here. You know, it's sort of everything is symmetrical either side. So the tempo faders on this channel is over here, the tempo faders over here, and then this is the loop button here, which I'll just go through it. I might as well go through it real quick now. So we've got the loop button here, which if you change the knob, then it makes the loop bigger and smaller. And then your jog wheels. So actually the jog wheels are really, really good. They're touch capacitive, so you can scratch on them. You know, I mean, they're not massive. I'll tell you what, let's get out the old tape measure, shall we? So here it is, the old classic. So the jog wheels themselves are, I mean, they're 4-inch in total, the jogs, which is fine for a controller this size, which, by the way, is just over a foot long. 13 inches, as I said at the start, to be fair, fits perfectly on a 13-inch laptop. And then it's nearly 9 inches deep. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. What I was saying is that this Buddy is symmetrical. I thought, I actually had to double check on this, but a lot of other companies, as I said, have sort of changed the ways of having the symmetrical controller like this. But Reloop have actually stuck by it. If you look at their new Mixon 8 controller, it is symmetrical as well, which is their most recent controller. So, you know, there must be some demand for that, maybe with the Algoriddim style or something like that. But yeah, that's the way that this controller's laid out. Anyway, so yeah, the tempo sliders here, that's the loop in and out. You've got your 4-inch jog wheels. This up here, as I mentioned earlier, is where you put your iPad. Let's look at the mixer section. So you've got your browsing knob here, which takes you through your library. As you can see there, you've got your loading buttons. Actually, if you press shift on this browsing knob, it takes you like to your different playlists. It like goes back and forward. So so now if I go, I want to still be in DJ Kit Video Tunes. There you go. An interesting thing about this Buddy is that it's only got 2-band EQ on the mixer section. Now, it's not ideal, but for a controller this size, it's not uncommon. But what it does have is a dedicated filter knob down here. So you've got high, low EQ, or then low pass filter, high pass filter. So plenty of options to be, you know, EQing and mixing around like that. Want to say at this point as well, to be fair, the beauty of Algoriddim DJay is, I mean, it's made for iPads and iPhones and all that stuff, so you can actually be, you know, tapping it with your fingers and DJing with your fingers. Similar on a, even when you're using it on a laptop, you know, there's plenty of clicking around that you can do if you do want to sort of EQ the mid and stuff like that. But It's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. Anyway, these EQ buttons actually double up as the neural mix controls as well, which I will get onto in a minute. Let's just move down a little bit more. So you've got your headphone cue here, so you can have both of them on at the same time, or one or the other. The secondary function for the headphone is to actually turn on the neural mix, but again, I will get onto that in a minute. Then under here, this is the effects section. What I do like about this Reloop Buddy is, for a controller this small, I think that this might be the smallest controller that has got effects paddles instead of an effects button. So, I mean, regular watchers of this channel know that I am a battle mixer kind of guy. This is my muscle memory to use effects paddles. So, you know, really, I love having them on there. Going up, that locks the effect in. Going down, that is a momentary effect, like click effect like that. Then you've got the effects parameter, and then the effects select here, which you use within the software. Now, guys, I did have a little actual look earlier about, I was going to go through some of the effects within Algoriddim. There is so many. I'm just not even going to bother. But you know, as I said, this is 2 years old, this controller. If you want to know the effects, there's plenty of other videos to watch that. But then, yeah, going down, you've got, it's a 2-channel mixer, and then you've got your crossfader here. The only thing that I would say is that actually the up faders are quite stiff. But not a bad thing. You know, they feel well made because they're stiff, but they're not like, if you're a sort of up fader scratcher, that might be a little bit of a problem. So now let's move down over here to the performance modes, the important stuff for me here. So you've got 8 different performance modes on this buddy across 8 different performance pads. The pads are really nice. They're rubber, which is nice on a controller this size, this price. They feel good quality. The only thing I would say about them, they are RGB, but they are a little bit dim in terms of the RGB. But underneath the pads here, you'll notice this mode button. So the way that this buddy works, right, is that every one of these pads is a different performance mode, but to get there, on other controllers, sometimes it's shift and something or other, or double tap. On this buddy, you hit this mode, and then you touch whichever pad, and then that takes you to that performance mode, right? So at the moment, I'm on hot cues. That's why hot cue in the top left here is green, and all the rest of them are red. So these are all my hot cues here. I'll just go through the pad modes quickly for you anyway. So you've got hot cue number 1. This is auto loop. Then you've got touch effects here, which do loads of different effects. Then over here, wow, that's a long one. Okay, so then, crikey. Right, okay, so that one holds, right? I didn't know what was going on there. Right, so and then you've got the sampler over here. So then you've got the sampler over here, and then down here, you've got the slicer. Everyone knows that I don't know how to use the slicer, so I won't even bother. You've got the bounce loop down here, which is basically like a loop roll. And then a slip roll, sorry, that's a little bit like. And then down here, the last 2, these are the important performance modes, and these are the 2 features that I really want to concentrate about this Reloop Buddy. Actually, just to say about the sampler, a really cool thing about this buddy is that when you are using the sampler standard, you're not just tied to using these 8 pads over here. The samples actually spread, they're different on these 8 pads compared to these 8 pads. So if I go over here, for example, let's do the air horn again on that side, but then over this side, you've got different bank of samples over there. So, you know, you're not just limited to 8. So let's get to the good stuff. Right, the pad mode down here is the neural mix. Now, this buddy is 2 years old, and 2 years ago, this neural mix was blowing people's minds, right? Neural mix, for those of you that don't know, is Algoriddim DJay's version of stems. Okay, so they were the first DJ software, I believe, to bring this in. Virtual DJ followed not far after, and then of course now everyone's caught up. Serato have got stems, and even Rekordbox now have got the part separation. And in fairness, everyone's gone a bit stems and mashup mad these days with their DJing because it's so much fun. but we're seeing dedicated stems controllers coming out now, like the Rain 4 and the FLX10, the Pioneer FLX10 and stuff like that. But big up to Algoriddim, because this buddy 2 years ago, this has got dedicated stems or neural mix functions on it. So the first way to use the neural mix to manipulate your tune, as I mentioned earlier, up here you've got the 2-band EQ and the filter. If you hit, so let's just get this tune playing. So up here, if you hit shift and the headphone over here, then this turns these buttons into neural mix. So the bottom here, the filter takes out the drums. So now the drums are out. The low takes out the harmony. So now we're just left with the vocals, which is the high. Okay, so you know, you can have the different combos. You can have just the vocal and the drums, or you know, take the vocal out and just have the harmony and the drums. You know, it's endless like that. So that's a really cool way to manipulate your tune in the neural mix with those controls up there. So then the other way to manipulate your tune with the neural mix is, of course, down here on the neural mix performance mode. So if I just get my tune going there. So then if I go to the neural mix here, what these pads now do is they are spread across. So I've got them on drums, harmonic and vocals, right? So this first pad here, if I hit this, that solos the drums, okay? The pad underneath, however, takes the drums away, and now I'm just left with the harmonic and the vocals. So of course, again, you can combo this where let's just take the harmony out and have the well, there's no vocals in this part of the tune. There we go. Sorry, that has now soloed just the harmony, but down here, that's just the drums and the vocal. You know, you get the idea. I've done this a million times across stems and the record box, part separation and all that. But what I'm stressing here about this buddy is that this was 2 years ago, man. You know, this was before all of those other softwares had come out with that. So it's so great to have that on this buddy at this price point. And you know, there are different ways to combo it. The fun is endless with stems and with neural mix and part separation and everything. But so I do have this, just to say, I've got this on drums, harmony and vocals. But if you go into your preferences on the DJ Pro AI app, so and then I go to sound, right? You can have the neural mix EQ. You can change this to drums, bass or melodic. You can also customize the neural mix down here. So you've got different options. You know, I've got drums, harmonic, vocals. You can go 4. There's an option for 4 as well, which goes drums, bass, harmonic and vocals, or you can just go 2, which you can do instrumental a cappella or percussive and tonal. You know, there's also a way down here. So if I just put it back to 3, as that's what I was on before, there's a way down here where you can use the crossfader to control the different elements and bring them in, you know, like the vocal, take out the vocal from this channel, bring it in over there. You know, it's just so much fun, and it's brilliant. It's such clever development in software and DJing from Algoriddim. I know that we've seen, like I keep saying, we've seen it across other softwares now, but these guys were the first to do it. And you could argue that this is probably the deepest that you can delve into it. Anyway, that's enough about the neural mix now, because I'll go into a rabbit hole which nobody wants. The last bit that I want to talk about, the last performance mode I want to talk about on this buddy is the looper. Now, this as well can get very complicated, so I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible, right? So like I said earlier, actually, about the sort of screen size, and there can be a lot going on in the DJ, Algoriddim DJay Pro AI software. So I'm just going to make my screen a little more minimal over here. So I'm going to take the effects tab away. I'm going to take, actually I need that one. I'm going to take that away. So now down here, you will see, this is the sample pack, as I showed you earlier, but this bit here, this is the looper, right, options, okay? So you've got the kicks over here, the claps, hats, bass, effects, arpeggios and synths, pads, like they're just pad noises, and then the vocals over here. So this is the deep house pack, right? There's other packs that you can get, as you can see here, get more packs, but I'm going to stick with the Deep House pack because, I've just clicked that by mistake, but because this is a Deep House tune that I'm playing here. So what the looper does is it's basically like a sequencer, right? So I can be hitting, so I'm on looper over here. If I hit that, now I've got a kick looping over and over, right? If I put in some hats, yeah? And then over here, so if I go to looper over here, again, similar to the sampler, the modes go across the pad, so you're not just limited. There's no parameter button to go from one side to the other. You know, you can it's spread across all of the 16 pads here. So over here, let's get a bit of synth going on. Okay, you get the idea, right? So you can sort of create your own, by the way, to turn them off, you just click them like that, and actually they're like quantized so that they don't just suddenly drop out. They wait for like the end of the bar to drop out and stuff like that. But you can create a whole new tune, you know, on top of the song that you're DJing. So if I go, let's play from here, right? No, we'll play from here, okay? So I've got this tune here. Now, if I go over to looper, I've got that song playing. I want to add some extra hats, so, okay? And maybe I want to add some effects. Right, I'm going to take that out because it's out of key. But right, let's stick to just the drums so that there's no key clashes, right? So actually, I'll take that bass line out. So now I've got kicks, snares, and hats playing over the top of my tune in channel 1. Now, combining this with the neural mix, yeah, let's go over, I'll just get my hot cue. So I'll go here. If I take out the drums of this and the harmony, and I've just got the vocal, that beat is what's playing in the looper. Now I can drop just the vocal of my actual tune over the top.
I know it's not just me that feels this. I hear the way you talk.
See what I'm saying?
We know each other's little secrets. We have shared them all.
And you know, you can customize the looper, you can take different elements out and stuff like that. Loads of fun, really creative, and a really, really powerful tool. Again, on such a budget controller, small budget controller, you wouldn't expect to see features like that. Anyway, gang, I'm gonna leave it there. Tell me in the comments, what do you think about this Reloop Buddy? Is this something which maybe you saw 2 years ago, but you didn't really sort of pay it enough attention, or now, you know, you might be looking more into stems and that kind of stuff now that it's a bit more out there across the other softwares? Is this Buddy now something which you might like to have a play on? You know, maybe something to use as a backup. As I said earlier, you know, you can use this with a laptop, but you can have your phone plugged in running the Algoriddim DJay software at the same time. God forbid if your laptop dies, you just flick it over here and you've got that. You know, in the Algoriddim DJay software, you can have local music, you can stream music, it's got all of the good stuff. So look guys, let me know what you're thinking in the comments. As usual, don't forget to like the video, send it to anyone who you might think will find it helpful, and subscribe to the DJ Kit YouTube channel. Until next time, you take care out there. Peace.